Today, Bo is going to demonstrate how we place a hoof bandage. This can be for hoof abscess, one that's already open and draining, one that you think still needs to be drained, at really any reason you need to place a hoof bandage. So we've got our supplies. We love animal Intex pads to help establish drainage and pull out additional drainage. We've got some cotton to pack in there if needed. We'll guide you on which ones you need. Some vet wrap to keep the cotton or the animal Intex in place. Some elasticon and duct tape. We like to use the Gorilla brand specifically because it's very strong and they wear less holes through it. So first, we'll go ahead and pre-make the duct tape outer covering for our boot. We've already got some pre-measured strips here. So we like to set it on like a flat surface, like a wall. You can use a cutting board if it's really cold, and do this at home in the warmth. So first I like to make an X, and then from there I kind of just angle out slightly. We're gonna ideally make like a circle or a star shape. You just keep on going. And you can kind of guesstimate the length of the strips based on the size of your horse's hoof. I usually overestimate a little bit, but you want about the width of their hoof plus a few inches on either side to wrap up around the corners. And then once we've got our nice star shape here, I usually like to reinforce at the toe. So I just decide this is going to be the toe. That's usually where they wear the holes first. So we just put a few extra pieces of duct tape there. And then I'll kind of unstick to this to the wall, and I'll have it ready for later. I usually, if I'm doing this by myself, stick it to my pants and then put my vet wrap in a pocket. If your horse is a little bit unruly, then you can have a friend help you make it a lot easier. So we're just going to use some cotton right now. So I'll come pick up his hoof. And if you're by yourself and you're comfortable, you can kind of put the hoof between your legs like this. You'll put your animal Intex over where we had our abscess, or pack the cotton where we told you. Then I take my vet wrap and I start by going around the outside of the hoof, kind of half on the hoof wall and half on the sole, just so it sticks to itself. Do that once or twice. Then I start to cover the sole and I go around a few times. This helps keep our cotton or our animal Intex pad in place. And then the vet wrap's usually pretty easy to tear. I use about a half a roll every time I do this. So now we've got our nice vet wrapped hoof, keeping our animal Intex or our cotton in place. We can use our pre-made duct tape and just place the middle on the bottom of his sole with our extra duct tape down at his toe. And then fold these extra length up around his hoof wall. So now we've got a nice protective duct tape covering. I usually like to take some extra duct tape and go around the outside of the hoof, just so our tabs don't get pulled off. And then again, I'll just put 2 small pieces at the toe. And if you are placing placing animal Intex for an abscess, we'll instruct you whether we want you to put it over just the tract, the entire sole, and if we want you to wet it or not. So now we've got our hoof wrap. I usually like to, you can see there's a little bit of like excess that he could catch it on something. So I take another piece and I just put it over this. Sometimes I'll do a few pieces. So I'll do another one just to make sure there's no loose tabs. And then we'll take our elasticon. Sometimes we'll do this, sometimes we won't, just to keep some debris out from falling into our bandage. When you do this, you want to make sure it's not super tight on the coronary band. So you can see I can easily fit my finger under there. And then overlap about half on his skin and half on the bandage. And I go down another half. And then back up. And then